Dear students, by the end of this lecture, you will be able to do 8 things. First, you will be able to describe the structure and purpose of the senior phase within Scottish secondary education. Second, you will be able to name and explain the 4 SQA Chemistry qualifications and where each sit on the Scottish Credit and Qualifications framework. Third, you will be able to describe the components of an SQA course, the course specification, the course assessment, the assignment, and the marking instructions. Fourth, you will be able to explain how each chemistry qualification is assessed, including marks, weightings, and timing. Fifth, you will be able to describe the verification process by which the SQA ensures standards across Scotland. Sixth, you will be able to navigate the SQA website confidently and locate any document you need. You will understand how to plan a senior phase course over an academic year, including pacing, prelims, and revision. And eighth, you will be able to explain the progression pathway from National 5 through higher to advanced higher and into university. That is your destination today. Now let us begin the journey. Why this topic matters. Dear students, before I explain a single fact, I want you to understand why this lecture is so important. When you walk into a Scottish secondary school chemistry department, you will be expected, often within days, to start planning lessons for senior phase classes. Perhaps your mentor will say, take the 3rd period higher class on Tuesday and teach them about bonding. If you do not understand the structure of the higher course, the assessment, the data booklet, the timing of the prelim, and the way your lesson must connect to the course specification, you will be completely lost. Your pupils will sense it within minutes. In the BGE, you have flexibility. In the senior phase, you are accountable to the SQA. Every lesson you teach in S4, S5, and S6 is preparing pupils for an externally examined qualification. The mark scheme exists. The past papers exist. The marking instructions exist. The verification visits happen. The pupil's future depends on it: university entry, college places, modern apprenticeships, careers. So the stakes are real, and the system is precise. Once you understand this architecture, however, the senior phase becomes one of the most rewarding parts of teaching, because you can see your pupils grow from S4 confusion to S6 mastery, walking out of the exam hall as confident young scientists. Let us go in. What is the senior phase? Dear students, the senior phase is the second of the 2 great phases of Scottish secondary education. As I told you in Lecture 1, the broad general education runs from S1 to S3, and the senior phase runs from S4 to S6. So the senior phase covers pupils from roughly age 15 to age 18. The purpose of the senior phase is fundamentally different from the BGE. In the BGE, the purpose is broad development of curiosity, scientific literacy, and the 4 capacities. In the senior phase, the purpose is the achievement of recognized national qualifications that open doors to further study, training, or employment. So the senior phase is qualification-focused, although the 4 capacities and design principles of curriculum for excellence still apply. The senior phase is also more flexible than the BGE. Pupils choose their subjects. They take qualifications at different levels depending on their ability, interest, and pathway. A pupil might take a mix of National 5 subjects and higher subjects in the same year. A pupil might leave school at the end of S5 with 5 hires and go straight to university, or stay for S6 and take advanced hires, or take a foundation apprenticeship alongside their school subjects. The senior phase is therefore not a rigid pathway but a flexible architecture, and it is the SQA qualifications that give it shape. The Scottish Credit and Qualifications Framework. Dear students, before we go further, I must introduce you to one of the most important pieces of vocabulary in Scottish education. It is called the Scottish Credit and Qualifications Framework, abbreviated to SCQF. The SCQF is a national system that places every qualification in Scotland from primary school to doctorate onto a single ladder of 12 levels. Let me walk you up the relevant part of the ladder. SCQF Level 4 corresponds roughly to National 4. Level 5 corresponds to National 5. Level 6 corresponds to Higher. Level 7 corresponds to Advanced Higher and to the first year of university. Level 8 is the second year of university in HND or a Diploma of Higher Education. Level 9 is a bachelor's degree at ordinary level. Level 10 is a bachelor's degree with honours. Level 11 is a master's degree, including your PGDE. And level 12 is a doctorate. Why does this matter? Because when your pupils sit National 5, they are achieving an SCQF Level 5 qualification. When they sit higher, they are achieving Level 6. When they sit advanced higher, they are achieving level 7, and that is genuinely impressive, because advanced higher is recognized as equivalent in conceptual demand to the first year of a university chemistry course. That is why so many universities, including Glasgow, Strathclyde, Edinburgh, and St Andrews, give meaningful credit and adjusted offers to applicants with advanced higher passes. When you sit your own PGD, you are working at SCQF level 11. So when somebody asks you, what level are you teaching? You can answer with precision, I am teaching National 5 at level 5, higher at level 6, and advanced higher at level 7. The 4 SQA Chemistry qualifications. Dear students, let me now describe each of the 4 qualifications in detail. We covered them briefly in Lecture 1. Today we will go deeper. The first qualification is National 4 Chemistry, sitting at SCQF level 4. National 4 is internally assessed and internally certificated, which means there is no external examination. Pupils complete unit assessments throughout the year, plus a small project called an added value unit, which is a research and practical task. The added value unit is the culmination of National 4 and demonstrates that the pupil has developed scientific skills across the course. Pupils receive a pass or fail at the end. National 4 is graded only on a pass or fail basis, with no ATOD award. It is designed for pupils who are working at a foundation level or who need a stepping stone to National 5. The second qualification is National 5 Chemistry, sitting at SCQF level 5. This is the major chemistry qualification taken in S4. National 5 has 2 components of assessment. The first is the question paper, worth 100 marks, sat externally in May or June each year. The question paper lasts approximately 2.5 hours and is set, marked, and graded by the SQA. The second component is the assignment, worth 20 marks. The assignment is a written report based on research and experimental work, produced by the pupil under controlled conditions, then sent to the SQA for external marking. The total mark is therefore 120, and the SQA awards a grade from A to D, with A being the highest pass. The third qualification is Higher Chemistry, sitting at SCQF level 6. Higher is the major university entry qualification, usually taken in S5. Higher follows the same 2-component structure. The question paper is worth 100 marks and lasts approximately 2 hours and 30 minutes. The assignment is worth 20 marks. Total marks, 120. Grades A to D are awarded by the SQA. Higher is the qualification that universities pay closest attention to, especially competitive courses such as medicine, dentistry, veterinary science, pharmacy, and chemistry degrees. The fourth qualification is Advanced Higher Chemistry, sitting at SCQF level 7. Advanced Higher is taken in S6 by pupils who have already passed Higher and who want to deepen their chemistry knowledge before university. Advanced Higher has a slightly different structure. The question paper is worth 100 marks. The project is worth 30 marks. So, the total is a substantial independent piece of practical research. The pupil designs their own investigation, carries it out over many weeks, and writes a full scientific report which is externally marked. Advanced Higher is the most demanding qualification you will teach, and it requires deep subject knowledge from you, as well as from the pupil. So students, please hold this clearly in mind. National 4, pass or fail, internally assessed. National 5, 120 marks, paper plus assignment. Higher, 120 marks, paper plus assignment. Advanced Higher, 130 marks, paper plus project. The course specification, your most important document. Dear students, I want you to understand the most important document in your senior phase teaching life. It is called the course specification. The course specification is the official SQA document that defines a qualification. It tells you the rationale of the course, the aims, the content, the skills, the assessment design, and the standards expected. Every chemistry qualification has its own course specification. You can download it free from the SQA website. As a PGDE Chemistry student, I want you to download all 4, National 4, National 5, Higher, and Advanced Higher, and store them in a folder on your computer. Print the Higher one. Read it. Annotate it. Bring it on placement. A course specification typically contains the following sections. The rationale explains why the qualification exists and who it is for. The aims describe what learners will develop. The course content lists, in detail, every concept and skill the course covers. The course assessment structure describes how the qualification is assessed, including weightings and timings. The assessment criteria describe what pupils must demonstrate to achieve each grade. The equality and inclusion statement confirms that the qualification is accessible to all learners. Now, please listen carefully. The course specification is not the same as the textbook. Textbooks are written by publishers who try to interpret the course specification. The course specification is the authoritative source. If a textbook says one thing and the course specification says another, the course specification wins. So get into the habit, from your very first week on placement, of checking the course specification directly rather than relying on what a textbook claim is required. Course assessment components in detail. Dear students, let me now walk you through each component of assessment, because as a chemistry teacher you must understand exactly what your pupils are being asked to do. The question paper. The question paper is the external written exam, sat under exam conditions in a large hall, usually in May. The paper for National 5, Higher and Advanced Higher is in 2 sections. Section 1 is a multiple choice section, with around 20 to 25 marks of objective questions where pupils tick one correct answer from 4 or 5 options. Section 2 is the extended response section, with longer questions worth from 1 mark up to about 4 or 5 marks each, including calculation questions, explanation questions, graph questions, and 1 or 2 open-ended questions worth 3 marks. The total comes to 100 marks. Pupils have access to a data booklet, which is provided by the SQA and contains the periodic table, key constants, and useful reference information. The assignment. At National 5 and Higher, the assignment is a research and experimental task. The pupil chooses a topic, often guided by the teacher, that allows them to demonstrate research skills, experimental skills, and the ability to draw conclusions supported by evidence. The pupil collects information from at least 2 sources, plans and carries out a practical experiment, presents data in tables and graphs, draws a conclusion, evaluates the procedure, and writes a report under controlled conditions. The report is sent to the SQA for external marking. The assignment is worth 20 marks. It is generally a powerful way for pupils to gain marks, especially pupils who perform less well in timed exam conditions. The project at Advanced Higher. The Advanced Higher project is a much larger piece of work, worth 30 marks. It usually runs over several months. The pupil designs and carries out an independent practical investigation, produces a substantial written report, including aims, background research, experimental method, results, analysis, evaluation, and conclusion. It is externally marked. The project is intellectually demanding, but immensely rewarding, and it gives pupils genuine experience of independent scientific research before university. So, when you plan a year of senior phase teaching, you must plan time for the assignment or the project alongside your content delivery. Pupils need taught time, practical time, and writing time. A common mistake of new teachers is to spend so long on content that the assignment is rushed in the final weeks. That is poor planning, and it costs pupils marks. Marking instructions and command words. Dear students, you must understand how the SQA marks chemistry exams, because every lesson you teach should prepare pupils to write answers that score well. Each question on the exam paper has a mark scheme, called the marking instructions. The marking instructions tell markers exactly what to look for and how many marks to award. These are published by the SQA after each exam, alongside the past paper. You must use them whenever you mark practice work. The marking instructions are built around specific command words that tell pupils what kind of answer is required. Let me list the most common command words you will see at National 5 and Higher. State or give. Write a short, factual answer. 1 or 2 words may be enough. Name means write the chemical name or the substance name. Identify means pick out a specific item from a list, structure, or diagram. Describe means write a longer answer that includes detail, often in 2 or 3 sentences. A description should include observation or factual content. Explain means give reasons. You must say not only what happens but why. An explanation usually involves linking cause to effect using scientific